There we go. Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. It's now 6:05. Meeting of the Dayton Historical Commission at Old Town Hall, October 11th. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on Dayton's YouTube channel. The listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Since we're on Zoom, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Pat Gales. I'm the chair.
Irene Alley.
Ken Pacheco.
Pat Olson.
Rafa Delphin.
Okay, and on Zoom, we have Ron Smith and Jasmine. What's your last name, Jasmine?
It's a spinner.
Semper.
What's that?
Semper Fi. Semper, like Semper Fi.
Oh,
Semper.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, Secretary's report. Did everyone receive it? Any changes? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of the minutes of September 13th. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
And any further discussion? Let's vote. All in favor. Irene?
Aye.
Pat? Aye. Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of September 13th, 2022. So moved. There a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, we'll vote. Irene?
Aye.
Pat? Aye. Rafa?
Aye.
And I am also an aye. Okay. The budget,
Are you asking about Ron?
Yeah, did we vote him yet? No.
No, right?
Did one vote?
He's not a voting member yet.
not yet, because,
Didn't think so.
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
We just didn't want to leave him off. That's all.
no, that was my fault.
That's the problem.
Our balance right now is $1,586. Our invoice for the Boston Post Cane has been paid. And CAI Technologies invoice has been paid with $300 from the encumbered funds. So that's our balance for today. The next is the invoice for Stacy Spies. And I actually want to hold this till we talk about the final documents and stuff from her. Okay, so can we just, do I need to make a motion to, do we need to have a motion to take that?
I guess I don't know who's gonna go for it.
Who's gonna go for it?
Yeah, Scott, just go.
All right, we're gonna take the invoice for phase 4 from Stacy Spies with when we talk about the final documents under preservation planning. So that's a motion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Irene?
Aye.
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 And I'm also an aye. Okay. Public input. Jasmine, you're up.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you.
So you have property at 0 County Street, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to tell us your story?
Well, where do you want me to start? From the beginning of when I purchased the land?
How did, yeah.
When
Yeah.
you purchased the land, yes. What went on?
So I saw this listing in probably July or August of last year. It's the lot at County Street where the intersection for County and Muddy Cove Road is. Long story short, as far as back in November, I purchased the land November 17th from a realtor, Eric Lewis. Before I purchased the land, my fiance had reached out to the building inspector out there in Dayton, Jim Aguirre, and basically just verified that, yes, the lot is buildable. So I, at the time, was actually a couple weeks pregnant and thinking that I was going to take on this big project of building a house there. And as things progressed, I was like, yeah, I'm all set. Let's sell the land when it's free around. And I'm gonna just find something that's already built. So that's what we did. We've already purchased another home, but in trying to sell the land, there's been several different circumstances that have come up that we've lost out now on 3 different deals of people being interested in this lot. All 3 construction companies that are like ready to build, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which we have the plans for. And we have the letter from Jim Aguirre, the building inspector, saying that, yes, a permit will be issued. That letter was dated with the previous owner, with Eric Lewis. But I also, again, have the email with him from back in November, early November last year, with him and my fiance, of him saying that, yes, it's buildable. So the first issue that, excuse me, that came up with the land was that it was not buildable because the abutters. So the gentleman who was purchasing the land or works for the company, the construction company, said that he had a friend of a friend of a friend who basically came to him and said, I heard that you're buying the lot, or that you're interested in it. You have an offer out on it. Don't buy that lot. You're going to have an issue building on it. A friend of mine works for town hall, or whatever he said to him, because nothing was given to me in writing, but they basically pulled out because they were scared that abutters were going to stop them from building. So that was the first deal. That was back in June. We left it on the market, received another offer, proceeded with that offer around the end of July. The first issue that came up was that the land was not buildable because of the wetlands and it needing to have work done with the Mass Historical Commission. Conservationist work, excuse me. So the conservationist work was an issue. Then it's been said that there's railroad tracks on it. Now this land is 3 acres. So if there's wetlands, if there's a railroad on it, then it's been said that there's sacred burial grounds on it. I'm like, so there's dead bodies. This is a cemetery that I just bought, because I don't want to. So all of these issues that are coming up with the land, basically right now I'm doing what I didn't want to do, which is my due diligence to come forward to the Historical Commission and the assessor's office and so on and so forth, and do what I need to do so that I can go ahead and proceed with a sale to get rid of this land. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, so in July, that was the last one that backed out.
They actually, that offer was made in July, and they just backed out actually September 27th. When it was brought up that the land needed conservation work, we discussed the pricing of the conservation work, and we're like, okay, we'll go half on it because it needs to be done either which way. So we figured out a number to work out with them, but then it came up about the burial grounds. So they basically backed out after that. And I have another offer kind of on the table, or my real estate agent is the one kind of working those things out or dealing with the potential buyers, but they're in the same place where they're not really interested in getting themselves into a problem.
Okay,
So technically two offers that have been completely lost out, but a third that right now is just kind of hanging in limbo.
okay. It's a long, narrow lot?
It is, yes. And the
Yeah.
house would be going on the back of that part of the lot.
Okay.
because you have the curb cut where the driveway starts and then it goes all the way back. I have all the plans and everything, and I wish that my real estate agent was just out of town because of the long weekend. So I'm not gonna have that paperwork back until probably tomorrow, maybe Friday. However, I did send it over in one of the emails to Ken Pacheco. Is that you, Ken?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, and thank you
Nice to
for
meet
your
you,
help.
Jasmine.
Yeah, how responsive. I called Ken and I'm in a doozy. I'm like, please help me. I don't know what to do at this point.
All right, Ken did reach out to me and I reached out to the Mass Historical Commission about the letter that came from saying that it was from 2005, that it is that you need project notification, and it looks like there's some Native American archaeology kinds of things going on there. So I
Okay.
did reach out to Jen Doherty, who is our local contact at Mass Historical Commission, and she put it to the Review and Compliance Board, but I haven't heard back from her yet. So
Okay.
I will follow up on that for you.
Okay.
That's probably how we can help you to see, what's going on with that, if we can get some answers to that
Right.
and be able to share that information with you.
I would appreciate that very much.
Okay. I don't, does anyone have any questions or?
When she bought the property, did any of this issue come up when you first bought the property?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Now that it's come up, the real estate agent that I purchased it from last year, so it was an agent who owned it. He was selling it on his own, Eric Lewis. And he's been very receptive since issues have come up. He, will get on a 3-way call with me. He will jump in the emails and such. But it was just stated that the lot is buildable, and he's saying actually that there's an exemption. He's saying that we reached out to the Percy Law Group as far as the title, with this being on the title, making it uninsurable. So the Percy Law Group was looking into that. They've not reached back out to me. It's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks at least now that they're looking into it. So they're saying they think that it's exempt. That's why I was able to purchase title insurance on the land.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen only that letter and nothing after the letter from 2005 saying that anybody did anything or that it is
Right.
exempt.
Right. Because I did look at the Registry of Deeds and saw the letter from Joe Lawrence and from the Massachusetts Secretary of Transportation saying
Yes.
that the lot was buildable.
And what was that dated?
That was 2011.
Yeah, so after the one in
that's after the one in
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
Okay, that's promising.
I mean, that's right in the Registry of Deeds. I think that's public information.
Right.
So, that's basically what we can do for you as a historical commission, is to research that piece of it. I will
Absolutely.
follow up. If I don't hear from them by the end of the week, I will follow up, for you so that we can have some information, because I'm sure this will come up again.
Is there a way for me to maybe, how are these meetings monthly or how frequent are they?
What, the historical commission?
Yes.
We meet monthly, yes, yeah.
So would I be wrong to maybe jump in a meeting once a month and mark it to my calendar, or is just wait for your,
It's public, you're welcome to do that. It's a
Okay.
public meeting. Yeah.
this Zoom link will always be the same Zoom link for the meeting?
There'll be a new one each month. But you have my email and Ken's email now, so I
Once,
can get it to you.
yeah, we'll get it to you. We
Yeah.
meet the second Tuesday of every month at 6:00.
Okay,
But the Zoom information does change. So once I get a copy of the agenda with the Zoom information, I'll forward it to you. But just so you can mark on your calendar, the second Tuesday of the month.
It's
Yeah, I-
November 8th. That's
I
not,
appreciate
November
that.
8th.
Yep.
Well, Ralph
Okay,
and I will-
perfect.
Election day. Yeah.
Right. I have
do
two
we-
small children, so it's easy for me when I mark things on the calendar very, very far ahead to be able to look and remember. you.
Yeah, I hear you. So, all right, so hopefully we'll have some information for you and, at least answer one question.
That's,
Okay?
that's amazing. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Ken, for your receptiveness and for helping me out with this matter as well.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck,
Thank you.
Jasmine.
Thank you.
for
I'll have a
joining
good
us.
night.
Yeah, you
Bye-bye.
too.
Two.
Bye-bye. I guess,
I'm
okay.
confused. So who told her it wasn't buildable?
They just said it was buildable.
So
But
the
it wasn't
realtor,
buildable.
the realtor Eric Lewis, from whom I purchased my house.
Yep.
From
Yeah.
whom he sold a house of mine. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a good guy.
Yep.
So he did some research, so he figured that the whole property is buildable. But then who interjected to say that it's not buildable?
Mm.
They had
The third, it's my understanding, was the third purchaser who was interested in buying the property. I don't know how they got notified of, but I saw the letter that they sent to Jasmine, basically saying, we're backing out of this. They're saying it's historical.
right,
Well, I didn't know about the burial part of it because we can all find arrowheads on a.
right.
on a Dayton.
Yeah.
So
Is
it's
the,
gonna be a little bit more than.
they backed out because the title search brought up the 2005 letter from the Mass Historical Commission, and it's a project notification thing, and it's an archaeological assets. And it's just saying that it's there in 2005.
But she bought it so much after that.
Yeah.
She had no problem.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I haven't bought a property in 35 years, but usually hire an attorney to do the title search.
Right.
That's
Right.
true.
And that's when this should have come up. I
Yeah,
would have.
Right.
thought.
that is,
Anybody-
you are
any-
exactly
Well,
right.
not only that, but anybody can claim, well, we know there are dead bodies right there. Okay, well, why don't we contract a dead body detector expert or whatever and do a aerial detection or whatever, they have that technology right now, right?
Like Ghostbusters,
Something like.
No.
like that.
Well, I used to be part of the cemetery commission. There was one cemetery which we thought we might have some graves available. So we actually rented, looks like almost like a lawnmower, but you go back and forth and we were able to locate some graves and
Neat.
some graves that went there.
You can do that too.
But this is, be a little bit, I mean, this was, you're in a cemetery, so it's all cleared. This has got trees and everything else.
Right, right.
But the other thing is when they were selling the property in Council Oak, there was 6 acres and the neighbors were upset that they were gonna develop, I don't know how many, 8 houses or whatever.
Right.
They said the same thing, that this is a Native American
Mm.
burial ground. And they had some group come and dig, I don't know if it's 1 foot, 2 foot holes in so many areas and they weren't able to find anything now. I don't know
I'm
how,
surprised that when she first bought this or was thinking of buying it, it didn't come up then.
And you had to dig for this, 2005.
somebody
Yeah.
really dug for it.
Somebody dropped the ball.
The wetlands, that she got 3 acres, I think she can, before the town would go over to your property and say, okay, this is wetland over here, this isn't, but now you've got to hire an engineer. So, and she was willing to go 50-50 with it.
Right.
The cost of it, because it's not going to be
Yeah.
$500, it's going to be a little bit more than that, but that would be able to be resolved pretty quick.
Now, is this on the corner of Muddy Cove? And
It's right in the corner, right in the corner. I went
Okay.
and and it's a house very close to it. That's on Muddy Cove. To this property here. I don't know if this property, it must go out wide as you go further.
I think it goes a
Yes,
little
3
wide,
acres.
yeah.
See a butter, do you know? Because when she mentioned something about the butter, it's like, what? He doesn't want anybody buying or building there? Like, do any of us want to get new neighbors? No. So is it something to do with that?
From the looks of it, it would have been like,
But I've been on the zoning board. I remember people coming to our meetings.
Yeah.
To houses being built there.
Of course.
But, it's gotta be a legitimate reason. I mean, you
Right.
can't just say, I don't want to,
Well, he
Right.
scared off 2 buyers.
Well,
He, she, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember when they were selling some property on Middle Street. I know it died. And someone was saying, well, I go in my backyard, I have a cup of tea, I want to be able to see those.
I know
trees.
the house you're talking
I don't
about.
want to see a house.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't want to see a house.
my
That's what
line
she said.
was,
She said.
my line was, you don't own it.
Mhm.
you
Right.
pay for the- But if you want, control it, buy
Buy
it.
it,
And guess
right.
what? They bought it.
There
Good
you
for
go.
them. Good for them.
Yeah. If you don't want to look
Well,
at
if I'm not-
somebody else and you,
Right.
other than that, shut up.
Which I should shut up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's get
So
back to the agenda.
Look at that, that's okay. So, James Briggs Garden Sign. We have a draft, I wrote it. of verbiage to put on the sign to go along with the picture of the house. So input, what do you think? What do we need to do?
Now, will this sign be like something that would have all, this is gonna have all of this on it, I take? it?
Yeah, it would have that. It'd be like an infographic, you know,
Okay.
that you see like along, you know, paths and historic places and all
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah. So it's have like two pedestals and maybe a flat surface
Oh, okay.
Picture.
of the house.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
So it would just be what's up at the top?
yeah, not all the sources. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just what I want to do is when we do these kind, because we're also be working on signs for along the rail trail, is having our files, the sources that were used to make the verbiage, the paragraphs, so that if someone had any questions, we could certainly direct them where to go to look for more information. So. Comments, what do we need
Oh,
to
it
do?
Sounds good.
Pat?
I gave you my comments earlier. I thought it was very wordy. Long.
She thought it was on. I don't know. How, it may have to be edited. I don't know. how-
Marina saw it, right?
Huh?
Marina read it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't, you know, we may have to edit for spacing and stuff. But at least we have,
I thought there was some good stuff in it. Don't
Mhm,
misunderstand me. I just thought it was too long for a sign that people are supposed to come. You know, you're not there for all day. You're gonna read the sign and I thought it was very long. I thought it was.
some weed. You know, we could just,
I mean,
Sure.
it can be shortened. In
Yeah.
1767, Jameson married Hannah Short and they had 10 children, or a large family of 10 children, instead of just repeating their names again. But I'm sure if it has to be, I'm okay with this, but if it has to be reduced, I think there's some things we can just shorten.
Right.
But
right. At least we
That would
got
be up to you.
someplace to start.
Yeah, no, yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, so it's good to see something.
All right, because I'll share this with Jenna, because she says she has some graphic design kinds of skills and see what she can do with it. And I think even if we go forward, we have to have this and the picture, even if we have somebody make it for us in order to figure out just what needs to be done. So, okay. All right. Historical Commission webpage. Rafa, how are we doing with that? Are you on yet?
Well, I did contact Leanne Kerwin because I still cannot make any editing from our page. And she saw Dan
Yeah,
and Dan told me that there's going to be a class, I think,
okay,
for all people who can access the website. Because I can't make any changes right now because they changed the password. Yeah.
Yeah, that just what opened up on October 4th.
Mhm.
And she did mention something about training for those that are administrators or whatever.
okay.
So this is not the Facebook page, this is the website out.
That's the website.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Which Mike and I control.
yeah. Okay. Next is review the historical sites for the DCR Rail Trail Project. So the first drafts are done for the Thomas Church Fishing Grounds, which is at Sweet Knolls. Segregated Depot. We're working on the first ferry landing, the Groveland Factories, Century Stove Building. And then we have a picture of the Century Stove Company and some pictures of the Segregated Depot. So, and we have a drawing, it's on one of the maps of the Groveland Factory. So we're making progress with that, slow going, but some progress is being made.
Could you tell me about Thomas Church?
Thomas Church,
And then I'll tell you what I have about Thomas Church.
and St. Sweet Knolls, he had the fishing grounds there where they started seining early on in 1700 sometime. And he actually owned some of the permitting. They would, you know, to catch the herring and that were coming up the river.
Hmm. Thomas Church is buried right near my house, so he's our neighbor.
Oh, I knew that, yeah.
Cemetery that I used
Yeah.
to care for, that's where he is.
Yeah.
It's the Church Ware Cemetery, and that's where he is.
When did he die?
So I wondered, what's he doing there? When you said Sweet Snow, maybe that was his business.
I think his fishing business,
Must
yeah.
live somewhere near us
Yeah.
because
I think he did, because what was I reading about him? Was it him? He came from Rhode Island. And
we don't usually accept Rhode Islanders. in that
I
sort of
know,
thing. No,
no,
that's out.
and William Bailey's, did he live on Main Street?
No. He's
But
a,
I think Thomas Church, did he marry or where?
okay,
Yes, I think he married.
Polly, I want to say
Yeah,
Polly.
yeah,
Yep.
that's why he's there,
Okay,
so. Okay, so it's coming along. It's slow progress, but it's coming together.
Yeah, the Trails Committee's meeting on October 18th at 7. I can't make that meeting. I've got an Agriculture Commission meeting. That
October what?
October 18th at 7.
Oh, that's next
Next week, yeah,
Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
Here?
All right, we'll find out. Actually, did I get the agenda? I'm not sure. Actually, it was on my
I
calendar.
can check the
It was
calendar.
on the Selectmen's calendar.
Yeah.
for, Meetings.
I can check it. But actually, maybe I'll just, stop in and give them a brief update where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is the plans with the Council on Aging for Mary Rebello. So I talked to Trista Tate. I stopped in and met her. They're planning this little ceremony for December 1st at prime time. I wasn't sure what time. So, I told her that we would, participate in that. And we would, think of something. So I kind of developed a little certificate. Because I thought if we just give her a certificate and, maybe a poinsettia, I'd buy a poinsettia or flowers or whatever. Put it on our letterhead like we do for the Boston Post cane, just a certificate of honor to Mary Rebello as, now it gets a little wordy, the oldest former resident of Dayton. I don't know how else to describe her.
do we know that for sure? Well, how about the oldest living?
The oldest
There
living,
was another resident of
more
Dayton who
longer.
was older, that, moved out.
we don't know.
I don't
And she's
know.
still alive. It could still be, somebody could have moved out and still be alive,
Yeah,
Well, yeah, so then she's not,
but we don't know that. This
We don't
based on-
know that.
Based on the information that we have, and who's going to challenge it really? Besides Pat. Give it a number.
Set her away.
But she's upset, the family's upset that we never gave her the Boston cane, but she wasn't the oldest person. I don't believe she was the oldest person when she left the town, when she moved out of, like, she was old, obviously, but not the oldest person.
and at that point.
And we can't take, we're
in
not gonna take the
We
cane away
can't.
from them.
time- And at that point in time, the commission, whatever reason, didn't. Give the cane out. So it was a lapse and then we
Yeah.
started up again. So it's just timing. The timing was not in her favor. So I don't know what to add. What are we, the oldest living? Oldest,
The oldest living former resident of Dayton. Unless you want to abbreviate those.
OLF.
One of the oldest.
Most experience. When
She spent like 100 years in Dayton, the whole, right? I mean, she's,
that's what we're being told, yeah. But when you think about the kinds of things that she experienced, she was a baby during the 1918 Spanish flu, 2 pandemics. Trolleys and trains in Dayton Mount Hope Finishing Company, regionalization of the schools, Dayton High being built even, the burning of Dayton High, just all, the wars. I was just brainstorming, myself, just wow. And think of the technology changes.
Oh, I know.
So, I don't know.
how old is she now?
She's gonna be 104.
So she really came a little late for the pandemic, the 1918 pandemic.
Is it, oh, just, yeah, just about, no, what?
No, because-
Figured it out.
Everybody was wearing a mask and everything else, and then World War I ended on
Yeah.
the 11th. Everybody got together.
Yeah, she was born December
Pacific, yeah.
1918. December of 1918 is her birthday.
Close. She was
Yeah.
born during the pandemic, yeah.
How about if we say to Maribello for something like longevity and well-lived long life,
You want to throw extraordinary in there?
extraordinary.
That's a nice Word. I don't know what other words you want to put in there, but it just.
It covers so much stuff, extraordinary.
Yes, it's a positive word.
For an extraordinary,
Long life. I don't know.
Life.
long and full life.
Yeah.
I like that.
That sounds very nice.
Yeah.
And that's what you're acknowledging, really.
Yeah.
So I think if everybody's in agreement with that, you ought to take a vote on that and have it ready at the next meeting. So all the members.
We can all-
sign it. So all the members' names will be on here, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll make a space for members. All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the certificate or what do we, to complete the certificate of honor for Mary Rebello.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, let's vote. Irene,
Aye.
Pat, Rafa,
I,
and I'm also an aye. Okay, did you get that motion?
yes, I did.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm recording it.
Oh, good. I never remember what I say. I never remember what I say.
I mean, people have not even uploaded the last historical commission meeting.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
It
no.
Really got late.
I think I saw it the other night. No, I didn't watch it, but anyway, okay.
Yeah.
It's obviously bias against us.
No, it's because we manage so well. All right, preservation planning, the survey and planning grant status. The final documents from Stacy. We have the forms A and B with the color photos, the CD, the hard copy of the base map, which is in Mike Mullen's office right now. I talked to him and we're going to get it down to the planning board so they can make a big copy and then figure out where it's going to be housed. The GIS information has been sent to this CAI Technologies for uploading to the mapping system. I don't know when they're going to get to that. Sometimes that uploading takes a little bit of work, but Stacy's piece of it is complete. And she will be sending a memory stick, a thumb drive with all of the forms on it, which may be easier for us to get copies and stuff done. So all of the final documents are there that we need. So we received her final invoice. The final invoice is for $4,375. Does anyone have, first, any comments on the final documents? Oh, and then also the final report, which I sent to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to, since it's being paid with the CPC funding, it needs to go to the CPC for approval. So I'll entertain a motion to send the invoice for phase 4 from Stacy Spies to the CPC. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Irene, will vote.
Aye.
Kat? Aye. Rafa?
I,
And I'm also an aye. So that will complete our first project, and I think we should almost complete our first project, but I still think we should congratulate ourselves. In the final report, the recommendations were for 3 areas and 15 individual properties as eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. So the areas are the Brick Historic District, which is like the center of Center Street and Pine Street, that area. Lower Four Corners, Main Street, and Elm Street. Of course, these spread out a little bit too. It's not just those corner houses. And the South Dayton Historic District, which encompasses Pleasant Street, Main Street, and one of the houses on Somerset Ave where Dr. Souza was. The 15 individual properties around Main Street, Middle Street. No, wrong one. That's not right. That's or like on Milk Street, Center Street, Main Street, Old Somerset Ave, Somerset Avenue. So I guess we have to decide what we're going to do with the recommendations that were made. And of course, in the recommendations was, she said, you know, any other properties that have not been done, as well as, how did you word it? As well as specific properties on Main Street, Middle Street, Muddy Cove, Old Somerset Avenue. And some to be resurveyed: Brook Street, Cedar Street, Horton Street, Pine Street, Tremont Street, Wellington Street, and Williams Street. Our next project that's starting at the end of October is working in Mount Hope and North Dayton. So those are all the recommendations, and it kind of like blends into what we want to do next. With writing grants and things like that. Do we want to go ahead and work on these? Or do we want to try and see if we can get something ready for the National Register eligibility, you know, which I'm learning more and more about. I'm not real comfortable with what I know yet. Do we want to learn more about it and then, you know, hold the National Register kind of work for later? So I don't know what people's input. What do you think?
And you sent us something on, is that what that, on the National Register is?
Yeah,
What gotta be done and,
that's, the steps of it. That was from, I went to a webinar that they did on it. It was informative. So,
I'm not really comfortable doing it right now.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
it is a lot of stuff. I mean, I think we can sit and hold on to those recommendations. Because we know there's going to be more recommendations coming from the next part of the project for North Dayton area. And then we can make a point of educating ourselves more on the National Register before we, you know, go forward with anything on that. That's my feeling. I don't know.
I haven't had a chance to really look at that.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, like, keep going the way we're going.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't forget it, but
Yeah.
Right,
just the stuff you sent was a lot of information and stuff, so.
right,
And I don't fully understand it yet, so. I'm not
right. That's,
comfortable going, but I think we ought to all work on it and
Mhm.
when we all in the same place. move forward with it.
right, right. So,
Now,
okay. I was even thinking maybe if we had like a, you know, just us sit down at some point in time and just talk about just National Register stuff, just, you know, what is it? How does it work for us? Access to the recording, you know, so we could share it. I looked at how to. I was going to email it to you, but I couldn't figure out because it was in a Dropbox, I think. So I wasn't sure how that would work for everybody. Yeah, but certainly there's a lot of information out there about it, and we have to be, in order to use it correctly, we have to be better educated. So. And I was thinking, even if we just have that just one time for a meeting, because that's a lot. But we'll keep it on the,
Yeah, I think we ought to go forward with it at some point, but
yeah,
I think what the commission has accomplished already is great.
So we have we have nothing in the National Historic District now.
just our two districts that we already have.
Okay. I'm confused then because the home that's for sale by the water, so is that in a district? And is it in the national?
Yeah,
So
That is-
is there some protection that then they don't afford that any
They don't give
protection?
you, from what I read anyway,
Oh,
they're not giving you
okay.
protection.
no, it's a honorary designation and it does not stop the owner from doing anything to the
Or
property
not doing?
or not doing anything.
right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The only if to that is if for some reason the property, and this is really more towards cities and towns, accept state or federal funding. Then, because they do that, they have to maintain it at a certain level. But private homeowners certainly don't accept state or federal funding for, whatever programming they may have. If it's in a district, that's part of what I read. Interesting, huh? Mm. And so, on the completion report for this, that's required by the Mass Historical Commission, I'm in the process of writing that. It's almost done. Once the final invoice has been processed, because I need like a warrant number and check number and all of that. So once it's been processed, I'll be able to submit the whole thing to MHC. And once it's reviewed, then the reimbursement will be sent to the town. So, and I did talk to the town accountant about that, so she knows that it's coming and, it has to go back into the CPC Historic Reserve Fund. So she's going to be working on that. So that process is almost done. Like I said before, the phase 2, the North Dayton piece, that contract's been signed by both the Board of Selectmen and Stacy Spies, and the work will begin October 31st. So, and we'll see another round of forms and stuff. Rafa, you wanted the segregated schoolhouse on the agenda?
Yeah, Joanne Racing Ferreira gave you the folder
Yeah,
and then you pass it on to me. So, well, it's a step-by-step process. First, the question of deletting.
yeah,
So once they figure out how much would it cost to delet the schoolhouse, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 or 40, 42, 45, which is probably doubled by now, because of inflation. Also, well, once that's done, once the deletting costs, were decided, then the building commissioner gave Joanne some, what is what I call it? Oh, renovation needs. So that would be a total separate costs.
what was it? Renovation?
Renovation needs, what has to be done exactly after the deletting. And the list is quite long, so there's a lot of work. And there were like 3, I believe, 3 different contractors gave quotes. Again, somewhere it starts in between $25,000 to $55,000.
And these are older quotes. These are from
These are old, from 2018. So, yeah. So once that's done, once all the estimates were done, I believe the Historic Commission at that time wrote a proposal, like an application form with CPC money. And, it looks good, but my question is, what happens after that? Well, it never,
It went before the town and the voters voted it down.
okay, and they said no?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they said no, basically, because they said, well, what are you guys what's the plan to do with the building? And it wasn't really,
Oh, they didn't think of the purpose.
we didn't, I'm not sure if I was
I
any
think I was
start,
at
right?
that meeting and there was quite the discussion that went back and forth.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was because there wasn't a total plan. It was for part of the repairs. So then the question was, what else is it gonna cost? So there wasn't a whole game plan from, you know, soup to nuts, what needed to be done. So it looked like, you know, because sitting there, it looked like it was just gonna be like a never ending project, because once you finish one, they'd be back for more, and be back for more, you know, so. That was the problem, and there was no plan for why. What was the goal? You know, and we did establish a goal for the Segregated Schoolhouse.
Yeah, we did. And I also created a Facebook page, Save
Yeah.
the Segregated Schoolhouse, and I asked people, what would you like to do
Yeah,
with this schoolhouse? And virtually all of them said either a museum slash school house, you know, for kids and stuff to experience history back then. Yeah, basically museum, because we need more museums in this town.
so that actually is on the list for the capital outlay committee. When we did that last year, it's like for FY 25. Wait a minute, let me just find it.
I'm pretty sure I'm on that committee. I'm pretty sure it's 25.
Yes, FY 25, because next year we put in for $25,000 for more update. So we put in for FY 25 for $45,000, which probably isn't enough now for architectural designs and plans. So that's 2 years away.
So should we start from scratch? Like approach these same contractors again and have them take a look at the schoolhouse again, and reassess everything again?
That would be comfortable with the architectural designs, I think, and whatever they would look at to say what needs to be done to rehab it.
Or we can have the building commissioner take a look again. And give them this list. I'm sure he probably kept, you know, copies of this.
Yeah, we could talk with Jim, you know,
Because we've established the game plan, we've established the purpose for the school.
right, right. So we have a purpose, and we also have to work on that, all the materials, all the stuff that's in there too. So, I mean, we can make a time, Rafford, and you and I can talk with Jim.
Okay. Well, and the CPC application says goals of the project. So actually, first one says specific objective to provide appropriate protection for a historical town asset and make it fit for public use and benefit, but that's kind of like a little vague.
Mhm.
And then part B, selection criteria, et cetera. So yeah, maybe that's what went wrong. If you weren't specific enough. So yeah, I understand.
I mean, I don't think it's too early, even though we said in FY 25 that's when the schoolhouse would come up, but we have some things, you know, like our goals for it, very clearly defined. What we want to use it for, how it's going to be done, you know, what people we're targeting, like a whole, like lesson plan almost is what I'm thinking.
I think I think if we were to vote for it again, I'm sure more people will probably say, yes, you know, we need to
Yeah,
say.
and that also prepares for FY 25 for the architectural plans there. And I pulled out the Form B that was done, and it actually is recommended for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. So this could be like our test case, learn about it so we can, this is a town building.
Yeah, I think we ought to hold off and get an estimate maybe until next summer. Because
Yeah.
the change, you know, the price of lumber and everything else changing all the time, so they won't be relevant, but we're gonna need 3 estimates. I think you had, I don't know, I'm sure those aren't valid anymore, but we're gonna need 3 estimates just to go to the CPC so we can give an idea as to how much it's gonna cost. But I think work on the goals and then sit down with Jim Agia, because he'll tell you what needs to be done. I'm not sure if bathroom has to be put there. I don't remember exactly. And at some point, I think there was confusion about what we're going to do with the building. At some point, there was a selectman who wanted to make that offices, divide it up into offices. That's before they renovated this building here. Obviously, I wouldn't be advocating that and I wouldn't want to spend the money for that. I think it ought to be the second cancer school and
Mhm.
kids and public can go and take a look at it. It's sort of like Hornbein.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna have to have facility, bathroom facilities.
Definitely,
ADA,
definitely.
ADA compliance. too.
Right,
Yeah.
and what that means is that you're gonna have heat there enough. You got the
Right.
bathroom, you could have heat, so town, that's gonna be expensive, town's gonna have too, so. I thought the roof was pretty good. I think it probably needs to be painted, the building. The windows aren't in bad shape. I don't think they have to be replaced. They're single glaze. So whether we want to talk about stone windows or whatever at some point. And then it's the interior to make it historical. That's gonna be a little, bit of expense. It's not insulated, so I don't know if they're gonna try to insulate it.
Yeah, and then it's like,
Maybe we can use the outhouse and an extension of the selectman's office.
Essentially, what?
Selectman's office.
You heard him right.
Yeah, I thought it did. But the funny thing is, I asked if we could just have an outhouse because Hornbein uses an outhouse.
Yeah.
And they weren't as strict when they okayed it, and I guess they can't change it.
yeah, they were grandfathered in. Yeah,
I mean, we have an outhouse there. I've never been in it, so I don't know how.
yeah, but that wasn't that's not
No.
original. That came from up off Main Street. What's their name? Delila and parents. But also I think if it might be putting the cart before the horse, but if you have a sample like programming that you want to do, how when people, 'cause people need to see concrete examples.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, we can work on that.
That's easy.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to like sit down with Jim, like say maybe come January or so?
Sure.
All right. I'm just thinking it'll get real busy for November and December, so. All right. And we'll come back to that. I had the CPC report on, and that was from Bill, but he's not here tonight, so he can update us next month. The library building committee met. I was there and Ken was there. We met on October 5th. Ken Pacheco and Ron O'Connor are co-chairs. I think that's a good idea. Jocelyn Tavares is the clerk. So Joe Shea and Holly Rote were from the Granite City Partners were there. On the committee is Jim Aguirre, Mike Mullen, myself, Mark Tavares. He's a at-large public. He's our neighbor. He lives on Milk Street.
Oh, it was the Milk Street?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Jocelyn, Jonathan Gale,
Britt from the library.
Rick from the library and Ron O'Connor. So. So Joe and Holly were there and they're preparing procurement documents for exterior work. So we had discussion on the historic look of the building and the shingle styles. And I'll be sharing the Form B and some information on shingle style buildings that I found with the committee. In the procurement, Holly came up with this idea was to include 3 alternatives for materials because cedar shingles versus some PVC or vinyl siding. And so what's going to work to make it look the best and also button it up and not be so exorbitant cost-wise. There's actually $350,000 on hand for the exterior improvement, the $150,000 from the town meeting and $200,000, which was acquired by our state legislative delegation. And of course, the committee would be seeking funding from CPC and the Granite City Partners will help with the application. I was impressed with Holly and Joe, because as we were sitting there talking about the historic significance of the building, they got that. And immediately came up with the idea for the alternatives. They got how, it's the carpenters that they hired just can't be, Joe Schmo. The carpenters have to have some historic kind of experience. So that was pretty good. Our next meeting is November 16th. Anyone have any questions? Alrighty. New business. The Pleasant Street Bridge Replacement Project. I got this letter from Beta Group and I'm like, oh, okay. And basically, they're replacing the bridge on Pleasant Street in Muddy Cove and widening a little bit. I'm sure you all read it. I was surprised that there was trolley tracks underneath there, but then I thought about it, not really, because the trolley did go down that way. So I did call Tom Ferry and I said to him, hey, Tom, what am I supposed to do with this? I've never seen one of these things before. And he said, just input if you think there's any historical significance to the bridge in comments like that. So what are your thoughts?
This is going to be much wider, 5 feet.
5
Yeah.
feet to the west, I think.
Yeah.
So,
And that corner is a hard corner on Muddy
Yeah,
Cove and Pleasant
that's-
Street.
but it's nothing really historic. I mean, obviously trolley can't thing, but other than that,
It's not the first bridge that was there.
is that right?
No, the first
No, I
bridge
don't think
was,
So.
no.
It's been,
I think there has to be a number of bridges that have been there. Because Elkanah Andrews built the first one and that was wooden way back when.
my husband talked about, there was a couple replacements.
Yeah,
He lived down in that area between Somerset Avenue and eventually
Right.
on Muddy Cove Lane.
right, yeah. And in growing up there, I never heard any discussion of anything historical about the bridge itself.
Yeah, That's right, because you're down the street.
Yeah. Uh, So, and I do have the big, huge drawing. I couldn't scan it into all, if you want to see it. Probably seen this, Ken?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Our pleasure on the letter for our comments.
Right? It's just a bridge.
That we find that there's
It's utilitarian. We all need bridges.
no historical significance that would
And
impede.
vehicles are getting bigger and wider, so.
Okay.
So who's gonna pay for this? Some-
Yeah, fine.
What's that?
Somerset is also involved in the
No,
construction?
no, this is totally in Dayton Bridge.
It's a Dayton Bridge. Not far from Somerset, it's a Dayton Bridge.
No, there's another bridge down on Pleasant Street that the Somerset line is on. So no historicals. I'll just write them a little nice letter. Okay.
It's just the bridge. Right?
Bridge over troubled waters.
Yeah.
No. So it wouldn't have anything to do with like the land, like of homes next to the bridge.
No,
No,
not from,
okay. I'm asking because wasn't one of the houses there part of the Underground Railroad
Which one?
down a couple from the bridge on the right-hand side?
I don't know if it was, those are all in the National Historic the Wharf District.
Yeah, but I just wondered if they would be doing any work that might,
Impede,
their land, because I don't know what's on that property. You know, like, there must have been some tunnels or something, you know?
no, it's not going down that.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Kind of what Eleanor Cassidy's house. Used to be
Yes,
Eleanor-
Yeah.
yes.
There were no tunnels. She was a member of the society. We gave her a tour of the house. There was no tunnels.
Yeah, see there,
I mean, you think it's literally an underground railroad, but it's not. They transport people to different houses. They have places in the house where people would hide.
So you saw that,
I believe we saw something that was around the fireplace. It was like
a hidden
Big
room
room,
that
yeah.
people wouldn't know was
Yeah.
there kind of thing. And so they would have transported them on the river, maybe?
They might have, yeah.
Because of the location, the river's right there.
There's in lots of places, there's things that there's part of the Underground Railroad, but a lot of them, there's no, in a lot of the towns, there's no substantiating facts that,
There's no documentation on a lot of.
yeah, a lot of it's.
Everybody claims who has an old house claims it's
Yeah.
not Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
That's the only house I know of in Dayton that I just didn't want them to disturb anything.
No, it's not gonna be that,
Down that far.
No,
It doesn't pertain. to-
because the bridge actually ends
At Muddy Cove.
at Muddy Cove.
Okay.
You know, because you have to do that right now. It's like the sharp turn to get around the bridge. No, so. Okay. Good question, though. All right, upcoming grant opportunities. So. In our long-range planning for FY '24, we would put in that we would do another $25,000 for more historic planning. So that means next year, this, we'd go to CPC again for funding. But from the state, the FY, they call it 23, survey and planning. Their letter of intent to apply for funds is due November 14th, this year. So if we want to go after another grant from the Mass Historical Commission, we have to have this letter done. And I would go back to the recommendations of the properties that need to be done that Stacy made. If we're going to go ahead and do a survey and planning grant to see if we can get these properties done next, the Brook Street, Cedar Street, Horton Street, Pine Street, Tremont, Wellington, and Williams. And the ones she listed from Main Street, Middle Street, and Muddy Cove Lane. Because that Wellington and Horton Street covers West Dayton. And Smith Street's up there too. And that's like the next big area that has a lot of history to it. So, so do we want to go for the survey and planning grant again and get reimbursed the 12,500, or they can say no? And the timeline would be the same as the last one we did. The letter of intent's due by November. All of the full applications are due by February 6th. And then of 2023. And then they decided their March meeting for the awards for the grant for the 50% reimbursement.
Isn't our purpose as a commission is to save as many historical old buildings as much as we can? If there's monies available.
But didn't we
hey.
just say that we didn't know what we were going to do next because are we going to want to put more money into North Dayton? Didn't we? So if we apply for this grant, and it's my understanding, please correct me, you've applied for it twice, you got it the first time, you were rejected the second time. So now you're going for round 3. But if you apply for number 3 and that sort of pinpoints where the money's going to go. And didn't earlier in our meeting tonight, we just said that now we're focusing our attention on North Dayton. So we're not quite sure. We said we'd take it slow and whatever came up. Am I missing something here?
Oh, I thought we were talking about the National Register stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we didn't really know where we wanted to focus next. So, but if you go after this grant, that sort of focuses it for us, doesn't it?
For the West Dayton, for.
If you say go after the property that you suggested earlier,
Mhm.
well, then that grant money goes to there.
Right, right.
So then the focus is going to have to be that for a while anyway.
We have for the year, and that would also simultaneously, we work on educating ourselves about National Register eligibilities.
And maybe when we educate ourselves on that, we want CPC money to help us with something on that. So if you go after this now on this 3rd round, I'm only calling it that just for my own clarity. Why not wait another year, get more information? And then you'll know where you really want to be focusing your next 25 grand. That's my thought.
Okay.
Fingers and all.
Yeah, I would support this if I knew we were gonna get the grant. I don't think I would support it if we're not gonna get the grant, though, because that's another 25,000. We've got, what, 94 houses that we just got. We're gonna get
Right.
Another 100 is I forget.
Yeah, it'll be about the same.
Yeah,
About.
Right,
About
yeah.
the same. We haven't even digested what we just got,
Yeah, so I wouldn't,
but we may be eligible for that grant. The state, we found out for other grants, they won't give you back to back. The state won't give you back to back.
Right,
and we know that.
So,
Yeah.
we got the first one to reject, so it's possible we will get the third one. But I'm wondering, on the other hand, if we're gonna go for Segregated for 2025, and we'll be going for this grant in 2025, I wonder if that's gonna be a problem with the tax,
That's why I know you have a
Yeah.
deadline to apply for this.
Right,
I
right.
think we gotta resolve it now at this meeting, because the next meeting's the 8th.
That'll be too
You
late.
sort of have to.
Yeah.
So that's, my thought was that maybe we just let this deadline go by. Is what I'm saying. It's always great to get money for your projects, but
Right.
we don't really know at this time. We got a few other things going on, so we don't really know where we want to focus that next 25,000.
Right, because
And
one
you
of,
would have to put that in black and white when you
Right.
apply.
right, and one of the things too, if we decide we want to do some things with the National Register within the next year, those applications themselves can cost you like $5,000 and up, depending on how big of the properties that you're doing.
Mhm.
I think we have a lot to, like you said, digest.
Mm.
We have all of that information from the Form Bs and the Form As, and we're gonna have that again. And we just have to make sure that we're following up, through with those, that we're understanding it, and we're getting the word out to the people that this is what their money has bought.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm certainly.
I'm not opposed to holding off another year.
Yeah, maybe
Just
we
for,
should.
for being overwhelmed. I'll speak for myself. I'm being overwhelmed with the information we got now.
Tell me.
Well, it's 5 times as worse. I mean, it's 5 times as worse for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can say, okay, go forward. You gotta go home now. Gonna do it.
Yeah.
Get down, let's see, don't you make that. So I don't mind holding off this year, but
and then that would give us a 2-year
Mhm.
lapse in between.
And then you're probably really more apt to
Yeah.
guarantee getting it. And then you'll know where you wanna.
We'll be able to
What is
pinpoint
Ron
it more.
thinks? It's getting very quiet.
Yeah.
Ron, can you hear us?
I think he's on mute.
I can.
Okay,
Good, good. I'm listening.
just checking. Rafa, what's your opinion?
I think go for it.
You think?
I mean, what do we have to lose? If they say no, fine, then we'll try again. I think the whole key is persistence. We have to persist. We have to really push, keep pushing, because we're fighting time. And time's of the essence. And if there's money available right out there, take advantage. Go for it. That's my opinion.
the problem is if we go for it, we also have to at the same time do CPC. And then if we don't get the grant, then it's 25,000, so.
I mean,
Well,
if we
CPC,
don't get the grant, we don't have to go to
The deadline,
CPC.
yeah, I know, but the deadline's already gonna be gone. You have to have it in by like January or something, I think with CPC.
Oh,
I think so.
is it
Mm.
January?
We're talking about that for the library.
Oh,
So I think it's gonna be January, and then obviously it's gonna be put on the warrant, but we're not gonna get an answer until March on whether or not we're gonna get half the money, so.
remember CPC is consists of fresh blood. We don't have the old CPC people anymore.
right, right.
So the new CPC people tend to be more receptive and more open about these ideas. And, if we just, convince them that this is imperative, then I'm sure they'll be very receptive to it.
I don't think the problem is their support. The problem is if we go for it, we can always withdraw the application too, to say, we didn't get the funding.
But it's a lot of work on your behalf
Mhm.
to go through that and then get rejected. The other thing is, as you know, the library, we're going for CPC money. historical money, so. Selfishly, maybe I don't want the $25,000 for this.
That is
I want to get, let's get the library done, you know,
Mm.
like I said, because we want to do it once, the CPC, and then the year after we can devote more on Segregated and,
Well, do we know how much money the CPC has to have right now?
I don't know, it's a little bit of money, but they've been very tight with spending the money before, but as you pointed out, there's a whole, not a whole, but a lot of new people, and they're more receptive to doing things, so. I know we're gonna be asking for a few dollars for the library, so just,
Well, I did watch one of the CPC meetings and it was said that if people think they have a viable, application to put it in, no matter what the reserves are, for whatever area, to go ahead and do it, so because that also says to them, that this is where people are coming, looking for the kind of monies that they're looking for. So I don't know, I have valid points on both sides.
I'm not a voting member, so you guys.
Yeah. And if we vote. Well, we'd have to vote one way or the other.
You don't want to wait till November 8th, that we tell you, okay, go forward and get the application by the 14th or whatever the day was, so. Really gonna be resolved tonight,
Right, right.
actually 16th.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion on whether we should. I don't know, I guess I have to say, and then motion.
Sent it, ask for a motion, and it can be one way or the other. You know,
Can I have a motion to approve the letter of intent? Or apply approval of,
yeah. it doesn't
To
cost
apply?
anything.
all right, a motion to. Approve applying. Submitting. A letter of intent. To for the survey FY 23 survey and planning grant. To the Mass Historical Commission.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll step down and second it. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, what would you think? Irene,
I would like to hold.
Pat, hold. Rafa?
Go for it. Surge.
I don't know what I think.
And stay.
I think we have to hold. I think we have a lot on our plate. Though I do usually agree with you, go for the money, but I think we have a lot to sort out. So I have to say hold. All right, so we will not submit a letter of intent this round. Let's catch our breath.
That's what I was thinking of, I somewhat agree with Rafa that we ought to go for
Right.
1
Yeah.
cent.
But I
Because we
see
are-
it being a lot of work for you.
Don't worry about,
Well,
Well,
something
yeah.
after, we don't want to burn you out either, so I mean,
No.
that's the.
Oh, she loves being burned out, right?
I thrive on it, no.
Just a letter of intent. And as you said, we can always withdraw our application.
Yeah, I think we're better off to focus on what we have
Yeah.
to work. I really want to do a lot of reading on the forms, a lot of discussing about, the forms that we have about the National Register. There's going to be questions that come up with North Dayton. Be ready to, focus a little bit on that, to get those forms done. I think and then we go to the next time where I think we'll have a clearer picture of what we need to do. Because you're gonna be working on the segregated schoolhouse stuff, so.
Literally working on it. You letting it?
I got your hammer in my car. We didn't have any other correspondence. We still have one open seat on the commission. Ron Smith's recommendation will be acted on tomorrow night. That was totally my fault. I blanked it right out completely. Gone. Our next meeting date is November 8th. And you're saying,
Well,
It's election day.
the thing is, the election, I want to see the results more than anything else. Rafa, I'm not gonna talk about.
oh,
So that's at 8 o'clock. So I mean, I could attend this meeting at 6. I'm not a voting member. I'm more concerned about others that may not be able to
I
attend.
can attend. I usually vote like mid-afternoon anyway,
okay,
or I probably didn't do early voting, so.
all right. So we can meet November 8th at 6 p.m.
No problem.
Okay, and we'll just talk fast so you can be home to hear the results.
Or like this. Does Ron have anything he wants to add?
Ron, do you have anything?
Still there?
I think I'm here. Yeah. Uh, I thought I was very good to keep my mouth shut. It's not like me at all.
I was impressed.
One thing I picked up, I don't know if any of y'all did, but the lady that has the lot that she's concerned about,
Yeah.
did she say railroad as was on her?
Yes.
lot?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Is that the bikeway, pathway, whatever the word you want to use?
Bike trail.
the trail.
It isn't part of the DCR project.
It is
it-
not.
No,
Okay.
not the current project, no.
At the current, yeah.
Okay,
No.
I'm not familiar with that corner, but
Yeah,
I know there is something about the Muddy Cove, going down to Muddy Cove.
right,
So they
right.
might, and I don't know if, I assume Tom knows about that rail trail anyway, so
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if they're looking to put a 10 feet on for a pathway or something, that now's the time to mention it.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
And we'll see you in
Next month,
November.
next month I'll be there, I hope. My leg doesn't
Yes,
fall off.
yes, you will, Billy. Yeah. All right.
Well, it depends on how we
Okay.
vote tomorrow night.
Oh, that's true. It's up to the Board of Selectmen now. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Rafa, is there a second?
Second,
We'll vote Irene,
yes.
Pat, Rafa,
Aye.
and I'm an I. All right. Oh,
Good night, Ron. Bye, Ron. See you next.
Good
month.
night.
oh, no.